So with that, what I'm going to do is going to hand it over to Chris, who's going to walk you through a demo of Celigo's Procure-to-Pay process and how we help streamline it. Over to you, Chris.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Go ahead and steal that screen from me if I could.
Yep.
Thank you. All right. So within Celigo, and this is if this is your first time seeing Celigo, welcome in. So what we have inside of integrator.io is really the idea behind Celigo is a centralized place, sort of a single screen to manage and maintain and build out all these different integrations. So what we're going to walk through today is working with an ERP like NetSuite, and then working with another software such as SAP Ariba to sync things like purchase orders and vendor bills and things along those lines between those two systems. But as you can see here, I have a lot of other tiles that are representative of other types of integration. So that could be working with different 3PLs, that could be working with Amazon as well. There's a lot of different ways that you can utilize our platform depending on what systems that you're using. But again, in our use case here, we'll just talk about using SAP Ariba. Now, as I drill into that specific tile, it's going to outline all the different integration flows that we have going into and out of NetSuite or Ariba. And then from there, you can see if there's any errors, we're going to notify you of those errors in real time. Error management is one of the core components of our platform. And so we allow you to get notified in real time via email to any user that subscribes to that integration. So any user that you might have in the organization that needs to see that kind of information can be notified immediately. But as we see here, we can see the direction and sort of the category that we're talking about in terms of the data. So that could be moving the purchase orders out of NetSuite into Ariba. If you have any cancellations that need to come from NetSuite and push to Ariba, or again, having that confirmation come back into NetSuite once it's ultimately been synced. Also syncing over the financial details. So what's ultimately going to drive the GL impacts inside of NetSuite coming in from SAP Ariba, as well as those bill payments that would be coming out of NetSuite and syncing over as well. So just ensuring that the timing and the sequence of events that needs to happen between these two systems is outlined appropriately. And then obviously too, getting into the shipping. So if you're much more of a product oriented company, right, where you need to issue these purchase orders to ensure you're within your margins for safety stock and those sort of things to make sure you're not stocking out and selling things that you currently don't have on hand. That's another piece that we have in here. And especially if you're using different modules in NetSuite related to more inventory-based companies like your demand planning or supply planning within NetSuite, that drives a lot of your reporting. Or if you're using the work orders and assemblies, those things that are really reliant on ensuring that you have all that inventory in stock to be able to issue out those orders and get them processed, fulfilled, and then get paid. All of this is really important, and it all works together in that regard. Now, what I'm going to do here is drill into specifically a use case around working with those purchase orders and give you more of a visual of how we would set these up. And within these templates are frameworks of, hey, this is the source for your data, and this is the destination. So SAP Ariba on our destination, and we're getting our data from NetSuite. So we're pulling that data out from NetSuite. If I preview this, it's actually running off a safe search inside of NetSuite. And what's really nice about our tool is we leverage a lot of drop downs and pick lists just to make it easy for any sort of end user to come in here and be able to make adjustments as needed. So if you want to write your own report in NetSuite that exports out your purchase orders and the specific pieces of data that your vendors need to see in order to process that order appropriately, that's all up to you. But this is a pretty standard and sort of generic safe search export. But again, you can always tailor them however you like, and then simply select from our drop-down pick list. If it's a private safe search, we would just ask for the search ID, and you would just copy and paste that right in here, and we'd be able to pull that data out all the same. And then once you identify, okay, this is where we're going to grab the data, and this is where we're going to put it in terms of SAP, we also have another integration here that's more of a write back that says, hey, here's the ID of that PO we just got. So anytime you get a receipt related to that purchase order, you get a vendor bill related to that purchase order, you can tie all those out within your NetSuite environment. Now, the next thing you'll want to do is also set up the cadence or the frequency of that schedule for the integration. So what we have here is the ability to come in here and set your own schedule here. Now, because my flow is not turned on, it's not going to actually go in and run. But again, this is something that any end user can come in here and define and configure. You can always change these schedules around. It's not like you set it once and then it's saved and you got to build it again in order to change it. You can always come in here and make changes as you need to. So if you have that running every hour on the hour, or maybe it's just more of once a day or once a week, maybe all those POs need to be in by 12 a.m. on Friday, we can make sure that this integration runs in that cadence. And you also have the ability to run those on demand for any of those scheduled integrations. And if you want more of a real-time sync, we can support that as well through different listeners that we can spin up within NetSuite, or you can see here coming from SAP Ariba. So if there's specific things like webhooks where we could set up a listener inside of Celigo to, again, make it more of a real-time event change that we're looking for to fire these integrations, you can set those up as well. And then you set up as many users as you want in our environment. And then those users are the ones that get the notifications. They can come in and make changes. There's no licensing associated to a user. So there's no concept of seats or anything like that within Celigo. So you just set up the user you think would need access, and then the level of access that they should have, whether that's an admin, whether it's more of a monitor integration access, which is more of a read-only level. You also have a manage and owners that can come in and do more holistic kind of setup, inviting different users in. I can assign their notification preferences per user. I can manage different user permissions throughout the entire integration and what they should be able to do. If you require single sign-on or multi-factor authentication, we can support that for you as well. Really just depends on your setup and your security compliance within your own company. So whatever you need there, we can definitely help in setting that up. And then just to back up and kind of wrap this up, we were really looking from the perspective of a buyer. So you're using NetSuite to create your purchase orders and sync that over. If you're a supplier and you're working with someone that's issuing, and you're working with SAP Ariba in a similar fashion, where we want to sync NetSuite invoices and these purchase orders from SAP into NetSuite as sales orders, we can really play on both sides of the coin there. So whether you're a supplier or a buyer, it's really, for Celigo, not a problem in either direction. And with that, Michael, I will hand it back to you.
Great. Thanks so much, Chris. I'll go ahead and reshare my screen. Thanks so much for the in-depth demo. Much appreciated. So now that Chris has given us some more background on and more in-depth view of the platform, we wanted to just take a moment to go into some of the benefits our customers have found from adopting Celigo as their Procure-to-Pay platform. So Zoro is a company that has a range of products, MRO products, building supply, industrial supply products for small businesses and individuals. So they're a subsidiary of Grainger, which is a huge Fortune 500 industrial supply company. And basically Zoro had moved into into large business customers, right? So large business customers have very different procurement needs from their sort of original ground roots customer, such as consumers and small businesses. And they really had to come up with a way of managing and building this new e-commerce business model to integrate, the way these customers build into Zoro's ERP. So they were looking to automate a lot of the orders from the customers that were sent in over via Excel and CSV files. And they adopted Celigo as their number one platform to be able to automate this process. So they're able to use integrator.io, which is our core platform, to set up that integration so that customer order files were automatically ingested into their ERP without manual intervention. So they're basically able to offload a lot of that manual data entry that support agents were having to do, when Excel files and spreadsheets were coming into them. And it's really helping Zoro find a lot more efficiencies within that process and allowing those support agents to move on and help their customers in a more efficient way. and saving them a significant amount of dollars in doing so. And there's just kind of another quote here. It's coming from a wholesale distribution company. Celigo has greatly improved the efficiency and accuracy of our process, moving order fulfillment and invoicing from a manual import to a fully automated one. So you can see kind of the kind of running theme there as well.